Welcome to the Insights on Internships from Professor Jones podcast, or IOI for short. If you're a student studying hospitality and tourism management, and you have an internship or work experience requirement, this podcast is for you. That also includes those of you in event management, or MICE emphasis as it's called in certain parts of the world. It's my objective to pass along the knowledge I've gained in nearly 50 years in the hospitality field. As an industry professional, I hired and managed interns. As a faculty member, I supervised students in their internships and oversaw internship courses. As an academic administrator, I developed curriculum that incorporated internships and work experience. Most recently, I've been working part-time at the front desk of a local hotel, the Seacrest Oceanfront Hotel in Pismo Beach, California. So I've experienced every aspect of the process. Each episode will typically be less than 15 minutes long. The topics will cover the entire range from determining the type of internship you want, through the actual internship experience, and finally the reflection afterwards on what you've learned and how to connect it to your future career ambitions. The title of this IOI episode is A Curious Mind. This is the fourth in the current series of practical experience from my current guest services role. The agenda for this episode is, first we'll talk about how to develop a curious mind, being technology curious. This episode, by the way, may be a little more focused on the hotel experience of the industry, but I think it still can be applied in other related disciplines in the field, such as meetings and events, or MICE. I'm going to talk about 6 different areas to explore and what to look for. First, we'll talk about exploring property management systems, the PMS. Then we'll talk about utilizing customer relationship management software. Third, we'll talk about engagement of revenue management tools. Fourth, digital communication tools. 5, social media and online reputation management. And finally, we'll talk about mobile and contactless services. So let's talk about curious mind. Stoking your curiosity and using technology to explore it is what I'm talking about here. Utilizing the technology you have on the job to learn more. It's kind of that curiousness of checking under the hood, or the bonnet if you want to use British English. Using your spare time between interacting with guests to explore these things. Number 1, let's talk about the property management system. You can request access to training modules, or you can ask if you can shadow a manager or supervisor using the PMS. I do it all the time to recheck on things I've done. I go back, talk to my supervisor, work through things, make sure that I did it the way it was supposed to. I'm always looking for shortcuts, get those from my colleagues as well as supervisors. Learn about the different features and understand how they contribute to the seamless hotel operations. Particularly things like reports and analytics that you might be able to access to get a better in-depth aspect of the decisions and the things behind the scenes. We have one feature on our PMS called a room diary, which helps us to visualize who's in the room when they're checking out, as well as who may be pre-assigned to the room. This is particularly helpful with rooms in limited supply like deluxe rooms for us. It helps us see what's there to be able to manage the customer preferences about what floor they want to be on, for example. Another thing to look at is the daily occupancy and ADR numbers for each night for the next month. And then compare that at different intervals to find out the booking window of the hotel. What was the occupancy last week? What is it now for something coming later in the month, for example? Another area which definitely can be a pique your curiosity area would be in the group and corporate rate customers that you might not have direct relationships with working at front desk, but coming out of the sales side of it, I know and understand this quite well. But I do a Google search on these companies. I wanted to find out, for example, we had a number of different people coming in with a particular technology company who didn't know each other, coming in at odd times, all kinds of things on that. Turns out, they were working at the local nuclear plant. They're an outside contractor to them. When we talk about mice groups as well, we had a group with just, two last names, something, something, and something, something, right? Well, I did some research on it. I found out that it was an insurance company. But it was an insurance company that insured rental operations. And the people that were actually coming to this weren't people from the company itself. They were from the insurance brokers who they sell through. And you can find out a lot about this corporate aspect by talking to the sales department. And trust me, from my own experience in sales, I liked it when people at the front desk wanted to know more about the customer. Number two, utilizing customer relationship management software. Understanding CRM software can give you insights into, how hotels manage guest relationships, how they tailor marketing strategies, and how they enhance customer loyalty. So you can see if you can get involved in using the CRM to see firsthand how data is collected and used to improve guest services. We use the services of a company called Revenate, which is well known internationally for our marketing tool. There's lots of data in there about the effectiveness of our marketing campaigns on social media and email campaigns. It's also our communication tool that we use for guest bookings and confirmations. A third area, engaging with revenue management tools. I've talked about this before. These tools help hotels optimize their pricing and maximize the revenue based on analytics and forecasting. So you learn how to use these, you can be an invaluable asset for understanding the strategic decision making in the hotel management. I use, for example, our daily ADR and sell rate that our PMS system gives to my advantage. I write them down every day. And I recognize that if I get a guest who's staying just for that day, and we do reservations, by the way, in my role, I look at what that ADR is if I have to negotiate, and I know that if I'm giving a rate above the ADR, I'm gaining for the hotel. Another revenue management tool is a pace report that shows the timeline of bookings for a specific date. It gives you a lot of information historically on how short-term the decision making is within your market. Number 4, communication tools. So I'm going to concentrate here on familiarizing yourself with the communication tools used within the hotel to manage staff workflows as well as guest requests. We use Medallia for our SMS messages. Others might use different platforms or internal and external communication, which can give you insights into the efficiency of your operational management, even if you just read the texts that are back and forth between housekeeping, for example. I had to learn who in housekeeping sees the information in the PMS system, such as late checkouts, etc. And what I found is, the staff on the floor doesn't have access to that. They communicate through the SMS system. So I need to make sure I communicate what changes are made in the PMS system to them in that method so that they can get it to be able to operationalize it. Number 5, social media and online reputation management. This is a big one. Offer to assist with managing the hotel's social media profiles or monitoring platforms like TripAdvisor and Yelp. This will teach you about the importance of brand image and customer satisfaction in the hospitality industry. Search your competition and the reviews on them. Who's the best rating on TripAdvisor, which in our case happens to be a sister hotel? Look at how management responds to positive and negative comments to get an idea of how they're utilized beyond just the operational aspect of things. And number 6, let's talk about mobile and contactless services. With the rise of contactless technologies, understanding how mobile apps and other technologies are used to enhance guest experience can be particularly useful. This includes mobile check-in and check-out, mobile key cards, and services ordering whatever they may be before they arrive or even during the time they're there. SMS system with guests is the only system we use in our hotel. We're a smaller independent property, which can be prompted in terms of the use at check-in, which is particularly helpful when, and I've noticed, when we have bookings from third parties, the OTAs, the online travel agencies like Expedia and Booking.com and so on, where it's already a prepaid reservation and we've only taken a credit card for incidental charges. If they have none, there's really no reason for them to come to the front desk to check out, to go through that process, sometimes to even stand in a queue. There's no reason to do that. Now, my management hasn't actually talked much about that, but we do have a little information card that we can use, and I like to pass that out at check-in, so that they will use it for checkout and expedite the process. So in summary, I just want to say, critical thinking will be rewarded. So be curious. Thanks for listening to this episode of my IOI podcast. If you heard something you liked, please share it with your fellow classmates. I'd also encourage you to forward it on to your faculty internship supervisor. Hey, you could even include your supervisor at your place of work. Enjoy your internship learning experience.